Mind over matter. Have you ever noticed that the same life can feel completely different depending on the state of your mind? The same room can feel peaceful one day and suffocating the next. The same job can feel full of possibility one week and full of dread the next. The same future can look hopeful in the morning and ruined by midnight. That's not a small thing. That's one of the deepest facts about being human. And it's exactly where George Berkeley becomes strangely useful. Because Berkeley keeps pushing us toward one big idea. The world you live in is not just some cold pile of matter sitting out there. It's the world as it's felt, seen, noticed, interpreted, and lived by a mind. That's why this video is called Mind Over Matter. Not because you can magically wish pain away. Not because positive thinking makes hard things disappear, but because the mind has far more power over the life you experience than most people realize. Today we're going to talk about how Berkeley's ideas can help you think more positively without becoming fake, shallow, or delusional. We're going to keep it simple, and we're going to keep it human. Because if your mind is dark all day, the world starts to look darker than it's. And if your mind becomes steadier, brighter, and more disciplined, life itself starts to feel different. That matters. 1. You don't live in the world directly. You live in the world as you experience it. This is the first idea. And once you see it, you can't really unsee it. Berkeley is famous for the phrase, esse is percipi. That means to be is to be perceived. Now don't let the old-fashioned wording scare you. The simple version is this: the world you actually live through is the world as it appears in experience. Berkeley once wrote, "The table I write on, I say exists. That's I see and feel it." That's a very simple sentence, and it hides a huge point. You don't live inside raw reality in some detached way. You live inside sight, sound, feeling, memory, mood, attention, interpretation. That means your mental life is not a side issue. It's the atmosphere of your existence. If you wake up and immediately feed your mind fear, comparison, doom, resentment, and worst case stories, the world begins to arrive to you through those colors. And then people say, life feels terrible. Sometimes life really is hard, but sometimes what has changed first is the lens. That's why positive thinking matters. Not because it turns life into fantasy, but because it changes the world you're actually living through all day long. 2. Attention is not neutral. This is where a lot of people lose the plot. They treat attention as if it were a passive camera, as if they're just neutrally observing reality. Usually they're not. Usually they're feeding one side of reality much more than another. They notice every slight, every delay, every threat, every ugly headline, every reason to feel behind, every sign that somebody else is winning. And then they're surprised that life feels heavy. Of course it does. You've been building a dark world in your own awareness. Berkeley helps here because he makes mind impossible to ignore. He doesn't let you pretend that your inner life is irrelevant. If what's real for you is what's being actively lived and perceived, then what you dwell on matters a lot. What you rehearse matters. What you stare at matters. What you let fill your imagination matters. Positive thinking, at its healthiest, is simply wise attention. It's learning to stop feeding poison to your own consciousness. 3. Positive thinking is not denial. Let's make this clear because people get this wrong all the time. Positive thinking doesn't mean lying to yourself. It doesn't mean pretending pain is not pain. It doesn't mean smiling like a maniac while your life is on fire. That's not wisdom, that's performance. Real positive thinking sounds more like this. This is hard. It's not the whole story. I am hurting, but I am not helpless. The future is uncertain, but uncertainty is not the same thing as doom. Something bad happened, but that doesn't mean everything is bad. That's much healthier. And it fits Berkeley better too, because Berkeley is not asking you to stop experiencing reality. He is asking you to pay attention to how reality is given in experience. So don't deny the rain. Just don't build your whole sky out of rain. 4, your thoughts become the texture of your days. This is one of the saddest things about a negative mind. It doesn't only hurt in big moments, it ruins the small ones. A good cup of coffee becomes background noise. A walk outside becomes wasted time. A friend's kindness gets forgotten in 10 minutes. A beautiful evening gets lost because your mind is rehearsing an argument that's not even happening. That's a terrible trade. Berkeley's philosophy can help us notice that the world is always arriving through experience. And that means the texture of your days depends a lot on the quality of your awareness. If your awareness is rushed, bitter, suspicious, panicked, and cramped, then life starts to feel like that too. If your awareness becomes more grateful, more attentive, more curious, more open to beauty, more willing to notice good, then life changes in a real way. Not perfectly, but truly. You start living in a different world, even before the outside facts fully change. That's not fake, that's human experience. 5, beauty is not decoration, it's medicine. This part matters more than modern people think. If the mind shapes the world you live in, then beauty matters. Light matters. Nature matters. Color matters. Music matters. Clean space matters. Silence matters. A person who only feeds his mind noise, ugliness, speed, anger. And chaos shouldn't be shocked when he starts feeling spiritually flattened. Berkeley was deeply interested in perception. And one of the practical lessons we can take from that's what you place before your senses shapes the life you feel yourself living. So if you want a better life, don't only ask, how do I fix my schedule? Also ask, what am I showing my mind every day? Maybe you need more sky, more trees, more calm music, more real conversation, more books, more beauty, more order, more good things that remind you life is bigger than your stress loop. That's not soft, that's intelligent. 6, gratitude is a way of perceiving. A lot of people think gratitude is a moral chore, like it's something you're supposed to do because good people do it. But gratitude is also a perceptual skill. It trains your mind to register gifts that fear would normally erase. And once again, Berkeley helps us see why that matters. If the life you actually live is the life as perceived, then a grateful mind really does live in a richer world than an ungrateful one. Not because the grateful person has zero pain, but because he is still able to receive goodness. He still notices a warm meal, a clear morning, a good friend, a body that still works one honest conversation, one decent chance, one peaceful hour, that changes the emotional climate of a life. And the emotional climate of a life is not a minor detail. It shapes everything. 7, what you repeat becomes believable. Here's another practical truth. The mind believes what it hears often. If all day you say, I am behind, I ruin everything, nothing works out. People don't care. It's too late for me. Your mind starts building a world around those sentences. Soon they stop feeling like thoughts. They start feeling like reality. That's dangerous, because many people are living inside stories they repeated into solidity. So if you want mind over matter, start listening to the script inside your head, not to shame yourself, to interrupt the lie early, replace. Everything is falling apart with, I am overwhelmed. I can still take one good step. Replace. My life is a mess with. Some parts are messy, but the whole story is not finished. Replace. Nothing good is here with. I need to slow down enough to notice what's still good. That's not cheesy. That's mental hygiene. 8, positive thinking must lead to action. This is the last correction we need. Mind over matter doesn't mean sit in a chair and think nice thoughts forever. The better your thinking becomes, the more it should move you toward right action, toward calling someone, toward cleaning your space, toward taking a walk, toward apologizing, toward building, toward trying again, toward learning, toward resting properly, toward living more faithfully. Otherwise, positive thinking turns into decoration, and that's useless. The point of a better mind is a better life, a better day, a better choice, a better habit, a better atmosphere around the people you love. If Berkeley reminds us that lived reality comes through experience, then one of the best things we can do is shape experience through better thought and better action together. That's where real change begins. 9. The world may be heavy, but you don't have to make it heavier. This may be the simplest lesson of all. Life already brings enough weight, loss, fear, embarrassment, waiting, pain, uncertainty. You don't need to add unnecessary darkness by training your own mind to live in the worst interpretation of everything. That's a choice, and it's a costly one. A better choice is not blind optimism. It's disciplined hope. It's trained attention. It's saying, I won't only stare at what's broken. I will also look for what's real, beautiful, possible, and good. That kind of mind doesn't float away from reality. It becomes strong enough to meet reality without collapsing, closing. So what does mind over matter really mean? It means this. The mind is not a little extra attached to life. It's the place where life is actually being lived. George Berkeley helps us see that your world is always arriving through perception, attention, and experience. And that means your thoughts matter. Your focus matters. Your gratitude matters. Your inner language matters. Your sense of beauty matters. The emotional tone of your awareness matters. If you want a better life, don't only change your calendar. Change what your mind keeps kneeling before. Don't kneel before panic. Don't kneel before comparison. Don't kneel before endless bad news. Don't kneel before every dark thought that passes through you. Lift your attention. Clean your inner language. Notice beauty. Repeat what gives strength. Take one good action. And let your mind become a place where life can actually breathe. Because sometimes the first step toward a better world is not escaping this one. It's learning how to perceive it more wisely. If this helped, subscribe and share it with someone who has been letting dark thoughts color every corner of life.